I heard you were on the fence with lithium batteries in your boat. Have you made your decision yet? They've been around commercially since 1991. Michael Amand from France really dug deeper into the newer technology in 1978. The lead-acid battery has been around since 1859, so some might say that that just works, right? Or does it? Why would anyone want to switch? I'll give you the gist of it. Acid eats holes in aluminum. I have an aluminum boat. Lithium, specifically LiPo4, doesn't have this problem. For your sake, I'll just explain why I jumped into it 2 years ago on this newfandangled invention. Why would I do such a thing? It's a rabbit hole of epic proportions, some might say. It was pretty controversial 2 years ago even. It's kind of simmered down a little bit. There's so many variables though. There's the space in your boat, the cost of the batteries, the brands, the amp hours, the features, the dealers or not a dealer, 24 volt system, 36 volt system, so many things to think about. I'm not going to cover everything. I'm just a schmuck with a boat. But the controversy of lead acid versus lithium, it's just not quite there as it was 2 years ago. Most fishermen seem to be more concerned today about forward-facing sonar ruining fisheries than lithium batteries exploding in their boat. It's not likely going to happen. Anyone that's jumped on the bandwagon with lithium, they're all gung-ho about bringing everybody else into it. I don't care one way or another, but this is my experience, and I'm going to share it with you just because it's the kind of stuff I like to do. I have a fishing channel, and I like fishing technology, so I'll take you along for the ride just in this brief little video to just explain why and what my reasoning was 2 years ago, and it still remains the same. So stay tuned, you're going to love it. First of all, let me start off with some of the reasons why I had issues with my Group 27 lead acid batteries on my 24 volt trolling motor. When I bought my boat in 2017, it was a nice boat, but the trolling motor, Tarova at the time, only lasted me about an hour and a half when I was out on the water. So I was really struggling to get any fishing done with that trolling motor. So to start off with buying that used boat, I had to jump right into almost $300 worth of lead acid batteries. In the first 5 years that I owned that boat, I had 6 lead acid batteries I had to replace. So because 3 of them failed, I needed to replace 3 good ones. You can't mix and match bad batteries with okay batteries, new batteries with used batteries in lead acid world. It's just something I heard isn't kosher. I could be wrong, and maybe you'll argue that, hey, I was wrong, but that was my experience, and that's every time I replaced one, I tried it a couple times, it just failed me. I ended up having less time on the water. So when we're looking at that cost, that's $840 in batteries in 5 years, and that was a ridiculous amount of money that I wasn't really interested in just duplicating over and over again. My biggest concern was that it was going to cost $1,700 in 10 years, and not only that, I was going to deal with lead acid, the acid in my boat, eating paint and putting holes in the bottom of my aluminum boat. Having issues with acid even after I checked the water levels and didn't overfill anything. Some might have said, hey, you just got to get rid of interstate batteries. That's your problem. Go AGM or something else. Well, I didn't want to spend $500 on an AGM battery and just potentially having continued issues and the added weight. I mean, 50 pounds compared to 23 pounds. Taking into consideration my woes with lead acid and having to scrape the paint off the bottom of my boat, I decided to just do some research and figure out which kind of batteries I wanted to buy. Now I could have gone the Amazon route and got some lithium batteries for $250, almost the same price as some, well, cheaper than some of those AGM batteries out on the market. But I decided I wanted to go with something that looked more reputable, a company that was based in the United States. Didn't mean that the batteries were built in the United States, but I went with Ionic. And I got two 100 amp hour batteries, and I actually ended up getting a 125 amp hour dual purpose cranking deep cycle battery. It wasn't cheap, I admit it. It was $1,400 for the two trolling motor batteries, and it was $789 for the 125 amp hour cranking battery at the time. If I wanted a heater inside of it so that it would work in the cold below freezing temperatures, I would have had to pay $1,200 for that cranking battery at the time. Now they're only $850, so they've come down a little bit if you want the heater version. And I also had to buy a $588 worth of battery trays, battery adapter terminals for my Ionics, and I even got an Ionic charger, a 10 amp charger. So in total, along with the Minn Kota Precision charger, I ended up with $588 additional dollars on top of that. I had to sell my old Minn Kota 3-bank charger, the MK3150, because it was only a 15 amp 3-bank and it didn't have lithium options in it. So I had to actually go out and buy a Precision charger for $315. I got a 2-bank for the trolling motor batteries. And I decided to get a Connect Ease 24 volt series harness system. That was an extra $90 on top of that. So the grand total for me to get into lithium 2 years ago was $2,690, $2,690. Those batteries are rated for 3,000 to 5,000 charge cycles. So currently, after 2 years of use, I'm actually sitting at 9 charge cycles on my cranking battery, which I never actually had to plug into any charger. The motor, the 90 horse Mercury, ended up charging it enough. And my other two batteries for my trolling motor, I've got one at 16 cycles and another one at 17 cycles at 2 years, fishing about 40 times each year, 4 hours to 12 hours on the water. And I never had to deal with dead batteries, even though I might not have recharged them from the previous day. I could get 2 days easy. And if I was only doing 4-hour trips, I could easily get 3 days. One of the other reasons why I appreciated jumping into the lithium deal was the 11-year warranty. There was also a Bluetooth app for monitoring your draw and available battery. I also had a battery that fit inside my Crestliner, my 1650 Fishhawk. The battery compartment was pretty tight, so it needed to be Group 27 size batteries. And that's what my Ionics were. The 125 amp hour battery was the same dimensions as the 100 amp hour battery, so that also fit into the cranking compartment just fine. Lithium Hub, where I bought my Ionics, has this weird perpetual sale going on. So the sale that I bought my batteries on sale for, it's pretty much the exact same sale that they're having today. So they make it out like you're saving $300 or $400. You're not. It's just going to be that price forever, the way it seems. The depth of discharge, the DOD on these Ionics that I own, you can't take it down below 20% capacity without concern for destroying your lithium. Even though you may have heard you can take lithium to zero, that's not the case. Ionic and Lithium Hub recommend that you take it down to 20%, but no lower than that. So that's what I do. But I can still get 3 days. If I was to jump into the lithium battery today, and I had the option again, I would definitely go with the heater. I haven't had a need for it. Most of the time I bring it into the garage and it's above 24 degrees, but there are times when you think, man, it's going to be below freezing and I'm not going to be able to charge my batteries. Or if you're out on the lake and it's below freezing, below 24 degrees, then that battery management system isn't going to allow for a charge from the alternator on your cranking battery and you're going to be stuck out on the water. So if you can swing it and you're on the market for lithium batteries, I would probably go with Epic batteries today because They actually have a sale on their batteries, 100 amp lithium with a heater on the BMS, that's the battery management system, is $500. The only caveat to that is that it's too big. It's not a Group 27 battery. I'd never be able to fit them in my trolling motor battery compartment. I know that Brett wouldn't be able to fit it in his Lund Pro V either, in the compartment where he's got his 36 volt system. So the only thing with that, you're not going to get the $500 one. You'd have to up it to the $800 battery that is a Group 27 from Epic Batteries. It's $800 for the 120 amp hour cranking deep cycle battery with a heater from Epic. That's $50 less than what Ionic's offering today at $850 if you want the heater in your battery. So Lithium, if you didn't know, needs a heater in order for it to charge below freezing or below 24 degrees. The other thing about the beauty of Epic batteries that I wished I would have known, they came out in 2019, so they didn't have a lot of advertising apparently. I just didn't see them when I purchased my Ionics, but they also have a battery strap, which you think every battery has a battery strap. Well, not Ionic. So with my Ionics, I actually have to purchase a strap from Amazon. That's what I ended up doing. It's a Velcro strap, wrap it so I could carry it and also place it in the boat. I mean, there's really no way to do it unless you get one of those hooks that uses gravity. You can use one of those temporarily, but they actually end up destroying the plastic case, so I wouldn't use one of those on a regular basis. But if you get into an Epic battery, you don't need battery trays. You don't need straps for installing because they already have them. You probably won't need a charger for a cranking battery that's connected to your big motor, because I've actually used the alternator for 2 years and I've never had to charge the cranking battery at home. You will need to, whether you get the Epic battery or if you've got the Ionic or whatever battery you choose, you still need to get a 2-bank charger or a 3-bank charger depending on what your configuration is, and it has to charge lithium. I'd also recommend the Connect Ease 24 volt system or 36 volt system, whichever you decide, but they're $90 to $150 depending on what you got. The only problem with Epic batteries is you have to buy 3, for me, in my 24 volt system and having a cranking battery, I would need to purchase all 3 of them at the 120 amp hour, $800 rate. All told, if you were going in on the Ionic, 125 amp hour with heaters, that's going to be, you're looking at $3,268 with the battery trays and accessories, which is way more than the Epic cost. Let me summarize everything that I just gave you. I would say that lithium is the way to go. It's the highest ranking in safety and efficiency. It has the longest lifespan. There's no maintenance required. I don't have to worry about lead acid eating a hole in the bottom of my boat. It's the lightest and it's the fastest charging at, if you put lithium batteries in your boat and you charge them, it's only going to take about 4 hours to go to full charge. Performance is way better, saves on boat fuel, gives you longer life. Some people were worried about, is it going to void the warranty on their Mercury motor, which Mercury says it would, but if they look at the Magnuson-Moss Act, it says that they can't. If I was to start all over with lithium, I would definitely do it. But I would definitely give a really good hard look at Epic batteries. I have Ionics and I love them. I've made it work with the straps. I made it work with the battery trays, but that was an extra almost $500 that I had to spend on getting it situated in my boat. Epic doesn't have that issue. If you get the Group 27 size battery that also has the internal heater option, which almost all Epic batteries have the internal heater, you're looking at $800 a battery. And it's a lot cheaper than Ionic. But really, jump in. No matter what lithium battery you go with, I think you'll be happy. You'll never have to deal with those lead acid leaks in your boat, maintaining water levels in batteries, or holes in the bottom of your aluminum boat if that's the case, scraping paint. You just can't go wrong. Embrace the change and the new technology, and start debating forward-facing technology like everyone else on the internet. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope it helps you. If not, I hope you enjoy your day regardless. Take care.